here again with my show On the Road with Trenessa, and today we are in the south of France, in a town that is very much known for its wine. Here we're at a famous cave, cave as we say in French, where they make wine. So I'd like to introduce you to the owner.
Alors, je m'appelle Xavier Rank, je suis œnologue ici à la cave, donc je suis un winemaker et je m'occupe donc bien sûr de toute l'organisation de la cave, la gestion jusqu'à la partie commerciale.
Exactly. So just to translate for you, Xavier here takes care of everything in terms of managing the sale of wine to the making of the wine. Donc, vous pouvez me dire combien de temps, c'est quoi exactement la procédure pour faire piquer une bouteille de vin?
Le temps, là on est en pleine vendange, donc du moment où le raisin arrive et où on peut sortir une bouteille, il va s'écouler entre 6 mois pour les blancs et rosés, j'y reviendrai, je vous expliquerai pourquoi, et minimum 18 mois pour les rouges.
Okay, so just to translate, right now we're in the very middle of the wine season. So for a bottle of rosé, rosé or blush wine, between 6 to 18 months.
Et donc pour le rouge, la problématique est la même, mais c'est plus long parce que dans le cadre du décret d'appellation Bandol, pour pouvoir élaborer des vins rouges, on a obligation de faire, après la vinification, un élevage de 18 mois en bois.
So for red wine, it's a little bit more complicated. It must spend at least 18 months in the wine barrels, and we'll show you that later on.
Donc voilà, on peut peut-être vous présenter la cave de la Roque, si vous êtes sur la cave de la Roque. Si ça vous intéresse, vous pouvez revenir sur l'ensemble du département du Var pour vous montrer l'importance du Bandol dans le cadre du département. Donc en fait, si vous voulez, le département du Var, c'est à peu près 1 500 000 à 1 800 000 hectolitres qui sont produits.
Okay, so right now the region that we're in France, they're called departments. We might say regions, or maybe the equivalent of states in the United States. And right now we're in a region called Bandol, and it's a very vast region in terms of wine production.
Alors donc dans le département du Var, donc, on a 3 appellations, que sont l'appellation des Côtes de Provence, qui font à peu près 1 million d'hectolitres.
Okay, so we have 3 different types of wines that are produced. Côte de Provence, which is à peu près
1 million d'hectolitres.
1 million hectoliters of wine.
Une deuxième appellation qui s'appelle les Coteaux Varois, qui est sur le centre du département et qui font à peu près 70 000 hectolitres.
Okay, so the second kind of wine is called the
Coteaux Varois.
Coteaux Varois, and it's how much? How many hectoliters?
70 000 hectolitres.
Okay, 70,000 hectoliters of wine. So and that's located in the middle of the department called Bandol.
Sur l'appellation Bandol, sur laquelle on est, qui est vraiment le sud de la région du département, Bandol, c'est 55 000 hectolitres.
Okay, and Bandol, which is where we are now, 55 million hectoliters of wine. So this is very much a region that's known for its wine production.
Alors, pour arriver aux 1 500 000 hectolitres, il y a, en plus de ces 3 appellations, on a ce que l'on appelle des vins de pays qui sont produits, qui représentent à peu près le reste du volume.
Okay, and to make up the other percentage of wine production here in the south, we also have wine that is called vin de pays. Yes, vin de pays, so wine of the country, if you wanted to translate it, and that makes up the rest of the volume of wine that we find here. And of the 55,000 hectoliters of wine, 45% of that comes from 2 different caves, if you will. The one next door, and also the cave that we're going to take a look at today.
Et donc les 55% autres sont faits par des propriétés particulières. Donc il y a à peu près entre 55 et 60 propriétés particulières qui font de tout petits volumes, mais qui représentent donc les 55% restants de l'appellation Bandol.
Okay, and the rest of the wine is produced by the mother and father wine shops, if you will, the local farmers that produce their own wine from their vineyards in their yard.
Donc la surface qui est couverte ici par la cave est à peu près de 280 hectares pour 140 adhérents.
Okay, so just to show you, give you an idea of the amount of land we're talking about, 240 acres of land this vineyard covers.
Donc pour venir maintenant vraiment sur le travail qui est fait au niveau de la cave de la Roque, depuis plus d'une dizaine d'années on travaille sur la qualité, donc avec une personne, un ingénieur agro, qui s'occupe que de la partie amont, que de la partie vignoble.
Okay, and so for the last 10 years, they have a specific engineer that oversees only the part of growing the wine in the vineyards and how that's collected and whatnot.
Donc depuis 10 ans, on travaille sur la qualité. Ça veut dire qu'on a identifié l'ensemble des terroirs sur lesquels sont plantées les vignes. Toutes les vignes sont plantées sur différentes entités géologiques. Et donc on a identifié toutes ces entités, ce qui nous permet de vinifier chaque variété de raisin en fonction de l'origine géologique sur laquelle elle est plantée.
Okay, and another study that was done, the engineers that oversee this vineyard have made sure that for each type of wine that is produced, that it's grown in the best condition, the raisin is raised in the best condition to ensure that the wine that comes from this vineyard is the best in quality.
Donc ça veut dire effectivement tous les jours, on sait exactement, puisqu'on a défini ce que l'on appelle un cahier d'apport, donc on sait exactement quelles sont les parcelles qui vont rentrer, les cépages, et par rapport à ce que l'on recherche comme profil de produit, le type de vinification que l'on va faire sur ces raisins.
Okay. So every day they will look at the soil, the raisin, the maturity of the raisin, in order to get the, like I said, the best bottle of wine and the best vineyard.
Bon, après, si vous voulez, on va aller en cave.
Okay. So we're going to go take a look at a real wine cellar. Okay, let's go. We're going to follow from the beginning to the end how wine is made here at the vineyard called Loretto. You can see back here we have a bushel of grapes. To make red wine. To make blush wine, they're going to take this and they're going to press it, and they're going to actually make grape juice. And that's going to determine the color, the amount that they use in terms of the skin and how much they're pressing the raisin itself. We'll make blush wine, and then of course to make white wine, they're just going to use the white grapes, the green Concord grapes, plus the pulp. So that determines the difference in the color of wine. Red wine, we're using all of it. So after the raisin is separated, I just explained that in order to have red wine, we're going to take the entire grape. In order to have blush or rosé wine, we're going to take part of the pulp of the grape, and we're going to press it and take part of the skin of the grape. And in order to have white wine, we use green grapes as well as the pulp, the skin and the pulp. Next, the pulp is going to pass into this machine, and this machine basically presses the pulp of the grape. And if we look in here, we can see the juice there's going to be juice that falls. But then we're going to turn the machine on, and it's going to press the grape. Normally lasts for about 6 minutes. And as the pressure increases, that will give the wine its color, whether it's red wine or blushed wine, as we increase the pressure of this machine, this press. And normally, in terms of time, it's about 90 minutes that this machine will be pressing the raisins. And within that, it will increase the pressure, and that will give the color of the wine. So one full cycle in this machine will last about 1.5 hours to 2 hours. The raisins will be in here, and they will be pressed, and we will increase in pressure, and that's what will give the color of the wine later on in the drink. Okay, so the next step is once we've gotten just the juice from the wine press that we saw earlier, it's going to go into this huge machine. And if I touch it, it's a little bit warm, and it's because the temperature on this machine is every day. It's always made sure that it's at a certain temperature, between 28 to 30 degrees Celsius. This machine will make sure that the wine doesn't get too warm or doesn't get too cold. And what will happen is it will stay in this machine for about 30 to 45 days. And every day they'll empty a little bit of it because the wine will start to ferment in this machine. And we'll have the fermented part of the wine that will be at the top of this machine. And the juice will rest at the bottom. And every day we'll empty a little bit out and pour it back in. So we'll empty some out so that we can make sure that the wine is moving and circulating throughout the machine. So we'll empty some of the wine out, the juice out, and pour it back in the top so that the fermented part will decrease and decrease and decrease and move throughout this machine. So what's very important in winemaking is the quality of the raisin. 90%, if you want to consider a good bottle of wine, comes from a good raisin. The rest is 10% is the technique that is used in order to get the juice. But 90%, the most important part in winemaking is the quality, that first step, the quality of the raisin. So here we've just had some wine that's just been pressed, or raisin rather, it's just been pressed. We can see the very top part right up here where it's a little bit less cloudy. It's the color that we're hoping to get. This will eventually be rosé. So eventually we'll see that the fermented part will fall, and that's what we find down at the bottom. And what we will get afterwards is the liquid, the clear liquid at the top, and that's what we'll use to make the rosé.